Welcome to this episode of Profiles in Health and Wellness on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Marney Gellner. I'm with producer Eric Nordquist, and we are going to talk today about the Adapt Fitness app, which is an app that helps people get a customized workout in their home. It's sort of based on who you are, what you have available, your needs, your wants, all of those kinds of things rolled into one. And we are going to chat with Max Lipset and Christian Burrus, who are the co-founders of this entire concept. Really, Max and Christian, thanks so much for joining us today. It's really great to meet you guys.
Thanks for having us. We're excited.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. Thanks for having us on. Really excited about what you guys are doing in Profile.
Well, we are too. We're really glad to hear that, and we love the enthusiasm. Part of the enthusiasm is that there are a lot of different things available in Profile. If it's the food you need, if it's a coach you need, if it's a workout you need. And so the two of you helped create this on your own, which then partnered with Profile to sort of become specific to that program. So Christian, let me just start with you. To sort of spearhead the concept of an app that would be specific to someone across the country, in another country even. With your background, did this app come as a result of you needing to satisfy the way to help train and physically coach some NHL players from a distance?
Yeah, I mean, it even goes beyond that, really. Even before I was able to work in pro sports, I mean, that's a dream job, so I'm very lucky to have that on my resume. But it really came down to looking at what the best trainers in the industry are doing and trying to mimic that. And typically what you see is there's a cost-benefit analysis as far as how we are able to handle specific clientele, whether it is pro or general population or weekend warriors. And, you know, if somebody pays me $1,000 an hour, you know, of course you can do a really, really good job at customizing, but you're only able to do that for one, maybe two people, because it is just cost prohibitive. So the idea was, all right, how do we leverage technology to essentially have a conversation through technology with the user? And we put together as many ideas and concepts as we possibly could to map out, all right, what does that onboarding process look like? You know, what injury history, what goals, what are the questions that we would ask? And then parlay that into a system where, you know, we get an idea of the long-term programming and direction that we want to take with the client. And then the other conversation, which is equally important, almost equally important, is, you know, the pre-routine or pre-workout question. Like, what does that look like? How do you feel? Are you on the road? And unfortunately, it's not, a lot of people don't have that skill set because it's too cost prohibitive. There's not a ton of money in this industry, especially with sport teams. And so at the pro level, it's a little bit different, but even in pro sports, typically it's one program, maybe two or three for a team of 25. And the goal here with Adapt was to leverage technology so that every single person, whether you are, you know, a mom that's got little kids running around or a pro athlete, we can accommodate your needs and feel like you're getting as detailed of a program as an NHL or NFL player would, even if you don't have to perform at that caliber. Like picking up your kids in some capacities and feeling good doing it, not having pain, that can be just as important as being a pro athlete and performing in your sport. So at the end of the day, that was the goal, is to highly customize and be able to scale.
Yep, that's the word, is customize. And a lot of what you were just talking about, Christian, is customizing, whether it's an NHL player or a mom. I mean, those are two very different fitness needs. Your background is a lot in hockey and right now in the NHL. And Max, your background is a lot in soccer. And in reading your bio, I can see that you're a personal trainer, you're a yoga instructor, you're CrossFit, you're in nutrition. You've worked with soccer players, baseball, NHL, football, cross-country skiers, Olympians. You have basically covered, I'm going to guess, every athlete at every level. and you're just involved in I would say, complete health improvement. Is that a fair assessment of your skills and your background, Max?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate all the credit where credit is some not always due, but I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different types of athletes who compete at world-class levels in different sports. I definitely wouldn't say that I've covered every sport, but numerous sports, and have had the opportunity to work with some really high-level cross-country skiers, soccer players, swimmers, track athletes. Really kind of covers a lot of different variety. But my goal with getting into fitness was to prevent disease, illness, and injury while also optimizing performance. So I really focus on that intersection of prevention and performance. And I was on my way to medical school and kind of took a detour to try this training stuff while I was playing soccer at a high level. And it really just struck me that by doing intelligent training, scientific, customized training, people can be way upstream from disease, illness, and injury. And that became my passion. And I decided I'd like being in the gym more than the hospital. And so that was kind of how it started for me. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience with different athletes, but also population level health with different organizations that we've worked with, including Profile, where people are focusing on being healthy and winning their life, regardless of what they do for a job. You know, health and fitness is important to everybody.
Mm-hmm. So you are very versatile, both of you. And certainly what you just said, Max, yeah, health is important. Fitness is important. The level of athletes that you two have worked with is very different from a quote unquote typical profile client. And that's not to minimize the profile client, but most of us, speaking for myself, speaking for Eric Nordquist, our producer, we're not world-class athletes. I mean, I played some high school ball. I wasn't quite to that level, and most of us weren't. But when you are working, what's that?
You were on your way at one point.
Oh, I was on my way. Yeah, and I'll say this: an ACL derailed me. I'll just put the blame there on the old right knee ligament. As the both of you are adapting, if you will, this Adapt app to Profile specifically, what did you find, Christian, was a real focus and something that was very different than if you're dealing with a world-class athlete versus you're dealing with, I'll just use me as an example, 46-year-old mom of two who likes to take power walks, but that is how I get my fitness in. How did you go about framing the app knowing your clientele would be different and the needs would be different?
You're going to be a little surprised by my answer, but I really think that there's no difference. I think if your principles are versatile enough to understand that the end goal is to feel good, the end goal is to feel healthy. You can feel good and healthy on the ice playing in an NHL hockey game, or you could feel good carrying your kids around. And those two endpoints are very similar in terms of how you approach them as well. The exercise selection might be different, the programming might be different, but at the end of the day, it's having that conversation, which is why our technology and our form intake, I guess the data intake that we have each of our users and members fill out is so comprehensive, because we really want to leverage technology so that we get a sense of what you're feeling and thinking, and what your level of stress is for the day, what your level of motivation is. All these little nuanced variables are really important. And one of the things that I think is vastly overlooked, whether it is non-athlete or athlete, is, all right, I'm having a rough day. And maybe instead of a workout, we send you a recovery routine where we do a bit of foam rolling, maybe a 10-minute yoga session, just something to get the body out of its funk for the day and help, bootstrap the recovery process so that, once you get enough sleep, the following day you're feeling good. And so the same concepts apply. It's just it might look a little different as far as what exercises. We might not be doing sprints or hang cleans or heavy weight, but relatively speaking, the stress might be similar. So it's just basic physiology and making sure that you have a clear line of communication with the people that we are working with, and we just customize around that.
Mm-hmm. And I loved what you said, Christian, about the end goal is to feel good. Go ahead, Max.
I was just going to say, we like to say in our industry that the needs of a Olympic or professional athlete and the needs of, somebody's grandma or grandpa differ by degree, not by kind. So we all still need to move every day, and we all need to have good range of motion, good stability in our joints. And, those are the things that contribute to feeling good, like you and Christian are talking about. So at the end of the day, when we started to customize our app and our workouts, our programming for the profile population, it's a matter of getting the right stimulus, but it's not a matter of, completely going back to the drawing board when it comes to how do we train this population of people.
Sure. So we might all get there differently, but we all want to end up in the same place. We all want to feel good. We want to feel healthy. And Max, I would assume that where we are in this new world of a lot of us staying home, quarantined, not having the full access to some of the things we were used to, this app now becomes even more valuable. And even though you didn't create it because we were in a time of quarantine, it certainly has a benefit at this time that you may probably had no way of anticipating. But how have you seen your app become even more valuable because of the times that we're living in?
Well, we're seeing a lot of people really invest in their home environment and making it comprehensive in terms of adding more equipment and things that they need to sustain the lifestyle or achieve the lifestyle that they want to. And so one of the things that we're really excited about with the app is that we now have a feature where you can save and adjust your home equipment inventory on an ongoing basis and then pull workouts that are specific for you, for your goals, for your physiology, for your background, but also based specifically off the equipment that you have in your home. So that's a feature that I think is really timely right now, just given that so many people are working out from home. And I think people will continue to do so because once you figure out how to do it, you realize, I don't need to drive into a gym. The commute time is cut out. There's a lot of benefits to being able to just get your workout done at home. And I think that the value that we're able to provide is really, really high right now when it comes to giving people guided instructional workouts that are custom to them. Every exercise has a video. We're constantly adding more exercises and improving our video content. So like you said, there's no way that we could predict this, but to a certain extent, we were ready for it.
Sure. And the members who download this app, who use this app, I have used it. I would get a text every week, and there would be questions on there. It was almost like you're checking in, and you guys have both talked about this, Christian and Max, throughout this interview, that you're checking in on the person. How are you doing? How are you feeling this week? Like, how's the body feeling? What's your motivation like? Do you have a rough day? That kind of stuff. But you're also taking inventory of something that, Max, you just talked about too. Like, well, what do you have in your home? Do you have resistance bands? Do you have an elliptical? Do you have an exercise bike? Do you have just a couch to maybe do some sort of arm push-up thing? Like, what you're sort of taking inventory of the person and what the person needs, and then what you have around you. Is that the idea of the text when you're checking in with these people? Because it's not just a one-time, here's your workout, let's see in 6 months and we'll maybe adjust it. It's like a weekly, what do we need today kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a daily check-in people's physiology, your physical state changes day to day, even over the course of a day. So we tell people that they should fill out their survey close to when they're going to actually be working out, because sometimes you might wake up in the morning and you have an intention to work out before you go to work. But something happens. Maybe one of your kids wakes up and interrupts you, and you end up waiting until the end of the day to work out. We tell people that they should actually fill out their survey for us, again, if they're going to push their workout to the end of the day, because something might have changed throughout the day that has affected their physiology. And so we want to make sure that we get them the best workout for that particular moment in time. And then, like you said, we're also taking in information about their environment.
Yep.
What equipment do they have access to? Are you at a full gym? Are you at your home gym? Do you need just a body weight workout today? Are you in a hotel? We have the functionality to be able to provide workouts to people based on their environment, their day-to-day physiology, and then also their goals. So every 2 to 3 months, we want people to go back through the intake form, which only takes a couple of minutes, and just update their goals and make sure that we're still working towards the end goal that we want to be, or that the individual wants to be. So all those things are taken into account. And like Christian mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, this is a concept that was born out of what the most effective and top-notch strength and conditioning coaches and personal trainers do with their clients, right? So we're just leveraging technology to bring that to everyone in a way that's much more scalable than if it was actually an individual reaching out to you directly and you're having a conversation with them to exchange all this information, and then they're writing you a workout based on all that information that was exchanged. That's what our technology does, but it does it much faster because we've leveraged a lot of really cool technology that Christian has designed over the last 5-6 years.
And the technology is, man, it is so beneficial right now. It has opened up doors that we didn't even know existed. We're going to wrap this podcast up with a word from each of you, or advice or inspiration or a quote or whatever it is each one of you wants to leave us with that sort of can keep us pointed in the right direction. Maybe it's the best advice you give to a client, or something that you just have found recently that has helped you through some of these crazy times that we're living in. But Max, I'll let you go first. Just leave us with your best words of wisdom for those of us who are just looking to try to stay healthy in our everyday lives.
Sure. So I've really been talking a lot about the idea that your health is your greatest asset. And during this time where a lot of our assets are maybe being affected by economic crisis or the pandemic in one way or another, focusing on your health as your greatest asset is really something that you can control. There's a lot that you can do on a day-to-day basis. And if you do invest in your own health by taking care of yourself, breaking the sweat daily, getting good sleep, drinking water, those types of things, you will feel better, but you're also gonna increase the overall value of that asset, which is the most valuable thing that you have, and that's your own health. So to me, that's the thing I've been thinking about a lot and sharing with people during this time, which has forced us to look at things differently.
Mm-hmm. Really well said. Christian?
Yeah, I think I would take a little different approach and focus more on the mental health side of things. I've had my uncle, for instance, is schizophrenic and depression in my family, and in a time like this, it's definitely difficult to balance those mental issues with the environment at hand. And a lot of that comes down to, maybe somebody isn't feeling so hot about their fitness or just overall well-being, and having some guidance, whether it is Adapt or some other coach to work with, I think is really important, where, you're not spending a week just burying yourself in the gym. You're having a sustained, consistent output of healthy sleep, healthy food, healthy fitness habits, and just taking it step by step, week after week. But you need some guidance in that regard. And again, whether that's Adapt or some other app or a coach, I think having guidance and having a consistent, well thought out approach is really important to mental health.
And it seems like the two of you have really thought out what you're doing, and we appreciate your guidance in all of this. I love the partnership with Profile and with Adapt Fitness. It's a really nice match, and I think what you two have brought to it is really valuable. So Max Lipset and Christian Burrus, thank you so much, gentlemen. Job really well done.
Thank you, Marney.
Thanks for your time.
There we go. Some great words of advice there. Your health is your greatest asset. Max Lipset and Christian Burrus, the co-founders of Adapt Fitness and the Adapt Fitness app. Eric Nordquist will join me to react to some of this interview and to expand on a couple of things that really stuck with us. We'll do that right after this.
Hey, Paul Fletcher for Profile by Sanford, online at profileplan.com. I just hit a pretty significant milestone. I am officially down 50 pounds. More importantly, I feel fantastic. As we adjust to our new temporary normal, don't let that stop you from getting your health on track or staying on track. Profile does virtual appointments with coaches for members who are stuck at home, discounts on shipping of Profile food right to your door. There's also curbside pickup. And give them a call and ask about the new customized exercise app to help you work out right at home. Profile's a game changer. Find out more at profileplan.com.
A really interesting conversation in that last segment with Max and Christian, and Eric Nordquist, our mighty producer, is here for some reaction. Nordo and Marno here breaking it all down. But Eric, what stood out in those interviews and the things that those gentlemen said? What did you really take from that conversation?
Well, so I think about it, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not a professional athlete. But you know, the insight, or maybe it's just the way that he framed it up. The idea, you know, if you think about the way we watch sports, the way that we think about fitness, we think about those that we see in the ads, the professional cyclist on a bike for an exercise bike commercial, or somebody that probably rode crew in college is advertising a rowing machine. And then ultimately the pinnacle of athleticism that we watch in sports. And hopefully, you know, given the times we're in, we get to watch them again soon in one way or another. But the interesting part about it is the idea that at a base level, you know, forget the athleticism for a second, the activity part of it, the feeling good. And, you know, both of us, you know, me to a greater degree than you, but when I lost a bunch of weight, I started feeling good because I was sleeping better. I wasn't snoring as much, you know, or, you know, you can get discouraged from a fitness perspective because you can't do some of the things on that pedestal in which you're trying to reach. So your concept of what being fit is. Right. And maybe the simplicity of it is if you are feeling good and the pants that you want to wear fit, the shirt fits, and your energy levels are where things need to be, and all of that included, you know, that is a reality of fitness for most people. And ultimately the goal, whether it's a pro athlete or just, you know, mother with kids, father with small kids in my case, that the goal ultimately is being able to be active and just the simplicity of it, feeling good. Yeah. So I love that. And I do love the app from the standpoint that, you know, especially now, and both of them I think in one way alluded to it, is we are stuck at home, you know, and even as things start to open up again, the cabin fever, making the most of your time at home. You know, you're not able to get to the gym. Maybe that changes in the next so many weeks, how that frames up. But the connectivity that you have and the tracking of it, I think, is really important. And how that leads into a program like Profile, where this ain't a crash diet. I mean, it's about making a lifestyle change. That's how I view it from my perspective.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So you know, a lot of times people go on these crash diets, like you can't exercise because you're just not eating enough food. And so, you know, what I've always loved about Profile is this is a multi-faceted, the multi-component program where it is the mental health that we heard about, and sometimes feeling good can really impact that too. It is the physical health where it's great that you're eating right, but range of motion, flexibility, being able to go out and mow the lawn without fear that when you pull start that thing too hard, or you're going to be on your back for the next 3 days. So, just things like that, and the way that it matches, as you said at the end, it's a great match with Profile. So learning from the guys that founded it, kind of the back end
Sure.
of where that came together, where it is, where it's going, and the customization aspect of it is really huge, because all of us ultimately can have very different finish line goals from a fitness and health perspective, but the basis of it is identical,
Yeah.
feeling good.
Yep.
So I like that vibe. That was really cool. I think you did a great job.
Yeah, well, hey, so do I. Thanks. And you said the end goal is to feel good. That's what Christian said, and I wrote that down with quotes around it. The end goal is to feel good. And he is a guy who trains professional hockey players. And
Yeah.
Max is a guy who played professional soccer. And sometimes that's intimidating.
It can
As
be.
a middle-aged person with kids who's just trying to feel good and walk a couple miles every day, that's my personal story. That's intimidating to say, okay, these are your trainers, a guy who works with NHL players and a guy who played professional soccer. But hearing them, they're not treating me in my workout like that, but they are treating me like they treat those athletes, in that your health is important to us and your feeling good is important to us. And however you have to get there, we're going to get there.
Yeah, I think eliminating the shame component from it, because again, we look up to what the idealism is of fitness, and I do think that we look at the top of the top
Yeah.
in athleticism and those that we watch in the Olympics and professional sports and all of those things. But if you take the shame component out of it and understand that, you being on the treadmill for 45 minutes a day at 4 miles an hour, you wouldn't know how great that is for your body, that you're staying active. Things like that, and putting it into perspective, I think, was beautifully done for episode 3, Profiles in Health and Wellness.
There it is. That's a
iHeartRadio
wrap.
app. Is that where we get it?
Yeah, that's where we can find
You tell me.
not only episode 3, but episodes 2, 1, and 4.
I'm just the producer.
Nordo, you're a heck of a producer.
Oh, thank you.
We enjoyed the chat with Max Lipset and Christian Burrus in episode 3, Profiles in Health and Wellness. I'm Marney Gellner. Our producer is Eric Nordquist. We thank you so much for listening to Profiles in Health and Wellness.